Then to item 39. This is regarding something we've had a little bit of discussion throughout our meeting on those micro grants for micro businesses. And this item 39, and Mr. Stamper.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Parks, board members, CEO Powers, Paul Stamper with the County Executive Office. There is a new state micro business grant program through the California Go Biz office. And our request today is permission from your board to apply to be an administrator for that program. Those are going to be $2,500 grants to the recipients. And eligibility is largely similar to the California relief grants. Businesses would need to meet a definition of what a micro business is, which includes items like 5 employees or less. And in this case, a revenue of $50,000 or less. And that needs to be their primary source of income to qualify. Those businesses that already received a grant funding through the California Relief Grant Program, or those businesses that were ineligible for that program, would both not be eligible for this micro business grant program. The program is designed to prioritize outreach to women, minorities, veterans, undocumented individuals, as well as low-income areas, and even specifically calls out sidewalk vendors. The state program as a whole has allocated $50 million, and county allocations are based on population. Ventura County has been allocated just over $1 million, and there is no matching fund requirement for this program. There is a 20% cap on the funding for administration of it. We'll likely need a little more to that, and we'll come back to your board as we finish working through our proposal. And the schedule is we will develop and submit the application by the end of this month and be notified in January. And then the program would ensue soon after that, but we would of course first come to your board to seek your approval to enter into that agreement and with any potential additional funding request for administration of it. So this is an exciting program because it represents $1 million of outside funding that we can bring in for very minimal costs to ourselves. And we have the infrastructure and knowledge in place to already run this successfully. So we really think it makes sense for us. And I just want to add briefly before I open it up to your questions that I appreciated your comments earlier on the ARPA funding supporting the business community here. But I would just add quickly that, you know, we're used to hearing this term wraparound services in the healthcare environment. That's really what programs like EDCs do for our local businesses. They have a cadre of technical advisors that provide that exact type of assistance for what businesses need. And I can tell you since the pandemic began, EDC in particular, they've gone from about 800 clients to 2,100 clients, from very few calls every day to about 200 a day. So the need is there, and some of their temporary funding sources during the midst of the COVID pandemic are starting to go away. And so we would definitely be looking at any overlap between EDA funding and requests and needs from EDC, but anything that doesn't overlap, we would certainly give serious consideration to through that advisory committee. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Good points, Mr. Stamper. And in the interim, Mr. Powers also sent to us the plan of potential use of funds if EDC had them from the American Rescue Act. And you can see how much they can really assist the local businesses out there. I also think when I think about the micro businesses too, obviously these are ones that exist and were impacted, but there are lots of opportunities for individuals to put together businesses, and they always start small in general, you know, and so having that extra boost can make the difference of whether a company becomes, you know, very successful. And it can start with a $2,500 grant. So realizing the importance that can be to smaller businesses. Do members of the board have comments? I could also go to our clerk to ask if there's any members of the public who wish to comment.
Chair Parks, there are no requests to speak for this item. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So with that, our board has the opportunity to move on this, and nice again to see that there is funding available for this program.
Huber, move approval.
Thank you. And do we have a second?
Second, and thank you for bringing us forward for our businesses.
And with that, could we please have the roll call on this motion?
Supervisor Levere,
Yes.
Supervisor Long,
Yes.
Supervisor Huber,
Yes.
Supervisor Ramirez,
Yes.
Chair Parks.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Stamper, for your good work and for your further explanation. That was really helpful to me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Item 40,